interesting development here. My friend Brandon, 2.5 months ago, he was involved in a just horrendous motorcycle wreck. I had to have multiple surgeries, fractured skull, just a whole host of nasty injuries. So, but he's good. He's doing better. He just called me to let me know he's back home. So that was cool. But the interesting development is that in our conversation, he was just mentioning to me that he can't work and he's bored at home. So there may be an opportunity for us to collaborate. Like, he wants to be able to do something remotely. He can't do it in the current job that he's in. So I'm going to head to his house later and go see him. This will be the first time I've seen him since his wreck. Probably grab something to eat for dinner so we can hang. And yeah, we'll kind of follow up there. As you can see, I own quite a bit of camera equipment. So I think it could be cool to actually shoot a video of his story and the accident. And then we'll see where this development goes if we're able to work together. So anyway, that's a quick update from me. I will see you later. All right, we have arrived at Brandon's. He said just come in, which is, I'm usually hesitant to, I've never been to his house before, so yeah. But he did say come on in, so make sure I'm at the right address before I walk in. Okay, looks like it. All right, let's see. Yo. All right. Oh man, you got the smell goods in here? All right. How you feeling, man?
What's up?
Dude, how you feeling? Oh
Good.
Man, yeah, you got the
I got all
the
the
food?
all the gear on.
dude. Well, I see you got a good dap still. Oh, nice. How you feeling, man? It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this dude in like months.
What's up?
So, what's your first thoughts about how you're feeling now compared to how you were like what 2.5 months ago?
I'm happy to be here. That's for sure.
Dude, I'm happy about that too.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't realize like, and we'll get into it a little bit later. We're gonna eat some food, but dude, I didn't realize like how close you were to like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because when you first told me you crashed, like I've crashed my bike a bunch of times.
I got the evidence to prove it right here.
Let's see.
Little,
Oh wow,
little
dude.
bend.
I'm glad you're doing better now, but I think a lot of people would like. I remember when you called me. This is what, maybe a month ago? Was that when
Probably
you called
about a
me?
month ago. Yeah, I was in Chicago.
Yeah, and like I saw the phone ring. I'm like, oh, it's Brandon. And it had been probably a couple months since we had spoken before that. So I'm like, oh, what's this knucklehead up to?
It was a couple months since we really talked before, but me actually seeing you, the last time I remember seeing you was when I was working at the bar.
Yeah. When was that? That was
a year ago.
So I remember back when you called me, you're like, first thing you say, you're like, hey, did you hear about my accident? And I'm like, I don't know what you're even talking about.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you figure just everything's good. I knew you had a motorcycle, and I knew that, I didn't know about the new bike that you had, but I knew that you had the Sportster.
All 26 hours of me owning that new bike.
26, was it that?
26 hours.
So yeah, just like tell me like what happened. How did it all?
So I was looking for a new bike for a while, and I've always liked Softails. All right, I don't know why. I've liked the look of the the Softail Standard or the Softail Deluxe, even the Heritage minus all the leather bags and stuff. But
Okay, the Heritage more the like classic style.
yeah,
Put your tassels on the.
yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. But I found a Softail Heritage, and I'm like, you know what? That's the right price. It's it had 30,000 miles, which was a little, it's not low miles, but it's up there a little bit. Not
What year?
insane. 05.
05. Yeah, that's not bad. I feel like, especially those kind of bikes. Those are touring bikes, so
Yeah.
they're meant to put miles on.
So I reached out to the guy and we set up a time to meet. I looked at the bike, I test rode it. I liked the way it rode, and I'm like, all right. When I went back, I worked out numbers with them and I bought it. I was excited because my plan was to go out and, venture out a little bit more than I would on a smaller bike.
Pick longer distance rides.
Longer distance rides. One of the things that I wanted to do, but it's probably not going to happen because the friend group that rides is not there anymore, really. I wanted to take a road trip down to like Kentucky or Nashville. I already started running through ideas on, all right, what can I do to the bike? How can I make it my own? In that 26 hours that I had it, I rode 200 miles.
Oh yeah, you lived on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I bought it at 6 o'clock at night on a Friday. And
man, Friday. So you were like fresh out of work, just straight from the job to
straight from the job.
Had the cash in hand.
Back home. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was ready for it. So, rode around a little bit on Friday, came back, rode on Saturday, came back to the house, and I was working on the bike because I noticed, all right, there's a couple things that, it just didn't feel right. Yeah. I was working on the bike and I went for a test ride, and short distance. But I was on my way back home, and that's when the last thing that I remember is seeing a pedestrian run out in front of me, and I locked up the brakes. That's as far as
you remember locking up the brakes.
Yeah.
I see.
So I remember locking up the brakes. I don't remember going down. So obviously I did. I mean, I got the scars to prove that. But
I didn't notice, by the way.
this one's very obvious.
The neck brace was slightly. I thought maybe you just had little stiffness.
The road rash on both my hands, my arms.
Yeah, let's get into next. Maybe tell me about the extent of the injuries. You were in a coma.
Yes.
Right. That's a big part. We shouldn't have glossed over. How long were you in a coma for total?
From what I understand, 2 weeks. That's, again, from what I understand. So there's different parts of a coma. This is all stuff that I learned when I was transferred to the hospital downtown. There's different parts of a coma. You have your out stage. So you're not going to remember anything. You're asleep. And then you have like your first stage of coming out where you're kind of there, but you're kind of not. And then, whatever happens during this time, you're still pretty much so heavily drugged up, you're not going to remember it. Mm-hmm. And then your final stage of it is, you're really coming to, and that's when you'll start getting some memories.
And this isn't necessarily a natural process, because this was a medically induced coma.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you initially had the accident, were you already unconscious, or what's?
They said I was up and talking. They said I was fighting the paramedics. I don't remember that. I don't remember. I remember locking up the brakes on the bike, and I remember waking up in the hospital. So for that, 2.5 weeks, I don't remember.
And when you say waking up in the hospital, you mean
like
after the coma?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
So basically 2.5 weeks was just gone.
Gone.
Yeah. Got it.
They said I was fighting the paramedics because they were like, "Oh, we're going to take you to the hospital." I'm like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "If you're going to drive me anywhere, you're going to drive me down the street to my house." They're like, "Yeah, okay. Get in the ambulance. You're going to the hospital." And I kept fighting them. The hospital said I was alert and talking to staff for about 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden I just went either I went unresponsive or I just stopped making sense. So that's when they rushed me in to do a CT scan, found the swelling, found the brain bleed. That's when they rushed to do the surgeries. So
there was no visible indication on your head that...
Besides a road rash, because I still got a little bit of road rash right here. If you look closely, you'll see it. It's one of those. But yeah, besides the road rash, yeah, there's some swelling, but rightfully so. It was, you know, I was just dragged on the ground for how many ever feet.
So you're allergic too then, huh?
Yeah. I'm allergic to pavement.
Yeah.
So I had this seems stupid, but we'll start with the least one, right? I had a broken toe on my right foot. My foot must have slipped off the brake at some point, and when it came back up, I know I whacked the exhaust because my shoe was melted. So, and I saw it, and I remember one of my family members going, "Yeah, it looks like your foot dragged on the ground for a little bit." And I looked, I'm like, no, that's melted. I'm like, that's exhaust. Road rash, I had a wicked bruise right here. So, road rash on my right. The only thing I really have on my right side is just the road rash on the right hand. The left hand, there was a little bit here. There's a little bit here going up my arm, and it goes up and onto my shoulder.
Okay.
So, and then now the big injury was what do you want to call it? My skull was fractured. So they had to remove a decent chunk of my skull. They said something here was fractured.
Orbital lobe?
Yeah,
maybe. I think that's what that's called.
Yeah.
Under your eye.
Because that's where the swelling is.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing is I had a brain bleed. So.
And I'm assuming same area where the skull was fractured.
They removed skull. Yeah, about the size of my fist, because it was all swollen, or not swollen. It was all broken, and they obviously sliced me from here back around and then removed this part.
Do you mind showing it?
Yeah.
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 So.
Here's my dent. But they cut here and then they cut down in front of my ear.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So, and that was all I'm assuming just to give space for the brain to expand?
Yeah, the brain swelling and everything too, yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I know my grandma back in 2008, she had leukemia and she fell in the shower, hit her head on the wall, and that caused her to have a brain bleed. So same thing. They had to remove part of the skull so that way, and she had the wicked staple. I'm assuming you had the staples on the
48 staples.
But yeah, like from a family perspective, I remember with my grandma walking into her room in the hospital after she had the skull removal surgery and then the staples. Like I still remember as a kid, I was like, whoa, that's not. Yeah. I never see because they shave your head, right, and then you just see this train track of just carnage. And it's like, whoa, wasn't ready for that.
No, it was so broken that essentially what they had to do is they had to do CT scans. They take that imaging, send it out to Germany. From my understanding, they pretty much 3D print a new one.
German engineering, man. Exactly. We were just talking about BMWs a while ago. Yeah. Dude, you can't beat the Germans when it comes to engineering.
But they send it, and then they'll send it back, and then as soon as it gets back, that's when I can have the surgery.
Skull.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because yeah, I know in some cases, I don't know if it's skull. It it might be able to be any body part, but I know, like for example, if you have like a injury to your ear and like you get your ear severed off, they can take your ear and put it in like your stomach or your arm. I don't know. So that it doesn't die, it like connects to the blood vessels and it still supplies it blood while you're healing or whatever, and then they open it back up and then reinstall it. Yeah. So, and I think they do that with skulls too.
They do it with skulls. They'll put it in your stomach or,
your abdomen.
Your abdomen. I don't know if I was partially under the bike still. So, because I heard two different things. I heard the person that witnessed the accident.
The pedestrian.
No, the pedestrian took off.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was told. I was told the pedestrian took off. So, by a few different people. Not that I would try and go after him or anything, because I wouldn't. Like, that's not I'm not here for that. They're okay. They're walking. They're fine. I'm a little banged up, but I'm fine. Right? At the end of the day, I'm alive. That's all that matters. Obviously, they're alive. That matters too. And I'm not trying to discount that here, but at the end of the day, both parties are alive. I don't care if she took off, if she stayed. I don't care. But one of the stories that I was told is the person that witnessed this. He was driving the other way and saw me go down, and he turned around and blocked traffic. And then I heard somebody told me that he pulled me out from under the bike and kind of propped me up against the side. So I don't know if the bike was still on top of me as I was sliding. But then I also heard that the bike, I hit the ground and I hit it hard, and then the bike kept going. So I mean, it's possible that when I went down, the bike could have slid on top of me for a little bit and then took off. I don't know.
That's interesting. So, and I'm assuming, I think you told me this, no gear, right?
No gear.
Yeah. So
No gear. I was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. I don't know. I used to wear, I would wear a hat if I was on a bike until I lost a few hats from, going down some old back road at 55 miles an hour. You lose a few of them, but it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm just going for a test drive on the bike real quick, because I was working on it. I went for a test drive. I was coming right back. So it was another one of those situations too, where I'm like, I'm right down the street.
Yeah, let your guard down. We were talking about earlier, most accidents happen within, I think it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes from home.
Yeah.
So
my glasses they're pretty scraped up.
Oh, I imagine.
So it was a brand new pair of heat waves that I had. Yeah. Thank God they were $60. They're cheap.
That's always the weird part, looking at your gear after, and you're like, oh man, my glasses. I remember one of my friends, she had a pretty bad wreck on the racetrack, and head first into the pavement, helmet on obviously, but her helmet was improperly sized. It was too large, and she knew it too. Yeah. And I remember telling her, hey, you need a smaller helmet, because I would see it moving around. And what she would do, she had a lot of hair, so she would bundle the hair up and put it on top as a way to kind of fill out the helmet, which is no good. So when she crashed and went face first, the helmet went straight up, and she just smacked her entire, she broke her jaw, her nose, teeth. When we looked at her helmet, her teeth were in the helmet still, in the foam. They were embedded into the foam. And the crazy part about it is her teeth, your helmet sits like this. You would think the teeth are in there like this in a row, because it was the first 4. They were in there like this. So it twisted. Oh. It wasn't, the teeth weren't in there the way they sit in your mouth. It was, they were 90 degrees perpendicular. It was disgusting. So is that what all this is? I see you got the helmet there. Is that you're practicing gear?
Practicing wearing gear.
Yeah. Dude, I had to. So.
Yeah, no, you're good.
It was getting a little too serious for me.
So it was, what is it, C4 and C6 in my neck. That was torn, partially torn. I don't know what the medical lingo is, so sorry if I don't get that right. But that's why I have to wear the neck brace. They want more stability in my neck. Again, we just had imaging done on it. We're still waiting to hear from the results. Hopefully I'll hear in the next day or so. And then as far as the helmet, this special shiny black helmet that I've yet to put any stickers on because I can't find them. But yeah, no gear. So definitely learning lesson. Next time I get on a bike, there will be gear.
Yeah, it's something that they say there's 2 kinds of riders. There's ones that have gone down and the ones that will.
Yeah.
I just told my dad that he bought his first motorcycle this week, 2 weekends ago, and he had me. He bought a Honda Shadow, 750. Yeah, so it's his, first bike, but we were kind of, showing him the ropes, and I just he bought this gear off Amazon, and I'm like, Dad, this is all junk. I'm like, spend money on good gear, because that's the only thing that separates you from the pavement. And I found in all of my crashes that I'm allergic to pavement. My skin is allergic to pavement.
Is that true?
Yeah, it tends to rip up every time it comes in contact with pavement at 50 miles an hour.
I thought you were taking that as a literal there's something in the asphalt that you'll break out into a rash. That's where my mind was going.
The first time that a guy told me that, I thought the same thing as you. So thanks for validating now that I'm not an idiot. And that's just a normal response. And I started using it. I'm like, I guess people know. So that's.
Well, if anybody thinks that I'm an idiot for this, it's all right, well, here, I technically have a brain injury right now, so I can classify myself as an idiot.
Yeah, and they're what do they call it? They're punching down on a disabled person, so that makes everyone a jerk if they've had that thought. Yeah, don't, be nice to the disabled, right? You should do that.
There was some issues here at the house when I was in the hospital that, luckily I have awesome neighbors and they put a stop to it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as
willful issues that were happening as a result of the fact that it was known that you were not here to hold down the fort, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which has got to be, I didn't want to get too much into it earlier, but now, now that we're talking, don't have to withhold anything. It's that's got to be.
It sucks. I'll put it that way. It sucks. It's one of those things where it's all right, it sucks, but you can't let it get to it. You can't sit there and just harp on it, because what's it do, especially if you're in a hospital? What's it going to do? You can't do anything. It's just going to frustrate you more.
Okay, so you're in a coma, but total time in the hospital was what?
Yeah, first hospital was 3 weeks, and they transferred me downtown, and I was downtown for 4 weeks.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so almost 2 months total in a hospital, which is just insane. Like I said, I don't know how you did it.
Very stir crazy.
Yeah.
So very stir crazy. Downtown, that was a lot of, they were doing therapy, so physical therapy, occupational therapy. They call it speech therapy, but it's really not speech. I'm mixing up some words, but that's...
You've always been that way.
I've always been you've known me long enough, you can say that. They call it speech, but speech is more like memory than, speech. Because they're you're talking fine, but, they're this is a memory task for you, or this is a, logistics task for you, try and figure this out. And it's all right. So there was a lot of therapies involved, so that kind of helped keep everything moving. I had one of my laptops there, so I was playing games, of course.
And did you have at any point, did you have any regression in abilities or skills that you noticed?
Definitely. Balance was a little rough at first, but that was one that I feel like I quickly picked back up on it.
And was that a result of being in the coma, or do you think it was the brain? What do they say the balance issues?
I'd say it was a little bit of both. Muscle was another one, but going from working every day to nothing for weeks on end, you're going to lose muscle.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how fast the body starts shedding? Yeah. It's like an energy preservation thing where the body's well, if we don't need this, because I guess every amount of mass that you carry on your body, it makes your body work harder. So if you're not using it, your body quickly starts to optimize.
Shit, I wish it would have done that for my fat, all right?
No, we can't have everything we want.
Yeah, we can't have everything.
Yeah, you got the new phone, right?
Yeah, I got the new phone. I'm still here. I'm still alive. That's all that matters at the end.
Yeah. So how did family all take it? I know like your mom's a big part of your life, and like she's always been. I met your mom first before I met.
Yeah.
She's the one who introduced us years ago.
So she found out we had our location shared on what's it called, Life 360. What she told me, she said she saw me circling the hospital, and she's like, "What's going on?" So she was trying to text me, and again, my phone was broken, and I don't remember any of this. She was trying to text me, and I wasn't answering, so that's when she started freaking out. She called my brother-in-law, who is, he's law enforcement, so he was able to make a phone call and just say, "Hey, anything happened?" And that's how he was the first one to know. He called my mom and goes, "You need to get to the hospital." So they drove down.
At that point, were you already not making sense or in a comatose state?
I was not making sense. So from the timeline, because the accident happened around 7:30, and then it was when I finally got access to my old phone, I saw the first text that I got from my mom was at 8:12, and it was, "What are you doing?" And then it was a couple question marks, and then, "Why aren't you answering the phone?" And a few minutes apart. So yeah, at that point in time, I was already not making sense. So yeah.
Okay. So then she gets to the hospital, and
I don't remember her, obviously I don't remember her getting there. I don't remember, family getting there, but I mean, I know she was a wreck. She was. So, it's not, they were, the medical staff at the hospital was telling her, like, "We don't know if he's going to make it." For the first 2 to 3 days, she was hearing that. Now, sure, that's the last thing any parent wants to hear is, they don't know if their child is going to make it through this. So, but she did tell me, when I finally woke up, now again, I don't remember this, but when I finally woke up, there was, I don't know if they were doctors or nurses, but they were helping me try and like walk in the hospital. And she said there was just a line of nurses in the ICU that were just applauding and cheering, because they don't get to see that often. From a motorcycle accident, they don't get to see that often. So with motorcycle accidents, either it's usually a fatal or paralyzed. So, I mean, I was very close to both of those, but yeah.
yeah, that's the more and more I talk to you about the accidents, like I'm realizing, like, man, because when you initially called, you were kind of like your normal chipper self. So I didn't even realize when you called, you're like, "I was in an accident." Dude, I've been in 10. You know what I mean? So to me, that was like no big, I'm like, "Oh man, that sucks." But obviously you hate to hear that from a buddy, but I'm like, you'll be good. And then as I start to hear more and more about the timeline of events and the damage to you, your body, the bike, the way it all happened, I'm like, man, that was a doozy. That was a close one. Yeah.
From what I was told, it should have been treated as fatal, and it wasn't treated as a fatal until hours after. They treated it as a regular car accident, so they just kind of swept up and loaded up the bike on a trailer, hauled the bike off, called the fire department out there to hose off the scene, because obviously my blood was all over the place. That's what one of my friends who walked down there and walked down to the scene. So one of them said, he's like, when we got there, there was still blood all over the place.
So fast forward now, you're back home. Obviously, I know you're bored still because you got some limitations. But honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect, because when you called me, earlier today to say you were back home, it was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, so what are you able to do or not do? And how much assistance do you? I didn't know what to expect. Right? You said you had the neck brace, and like, I don't know. In my mind, I'm just used to like the old like sitcoms where the person have like the metal thing. So I was expecting like a big, I'm like, oh, that little thing, that's like, or they have the foam thing that's just like completely encasing your like head and the lower portion of your head and neck, and you can't move, and you're just like, Like to me, I'm like, oh, that's that's
like the donut version.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
It sucks because you're limited. Like, yes, I can force my neck to move, but with what was torn, I shouldn't. So
and they say that you should be able to recover most of your mobility there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So mobility, was it mobility, memory, pretty much functionality. They're expecting a full recovery. So they're like, yeah, there might be some hiccups down the road. Recovery isn't quick. It takes time. So, but
Dude, that's
yeah,
awesome. I mean, from where you were to being able to, they're
Yeah.
saying you'll have a full recovery. That's
yeah. I mean, so this was what 2.5 months ago, and I mean, I'm up, I'm walking around, I'm at my own house. That's huge. But yeah, I'm walking around. I'm doing my own thing now.
Yeah.
So boredom's getting to me.
so about the boredom. So now let's fast forward to what kind of inspired this all to happen. One, I wanted to check on you. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but 5 days ago, so starting November 1st, there's some goals that I want to achieve in my business, and I'm not really on the trajectory that I think I need to be on. So rather than try to create the perfect strategy, I decided, let me try and circumvent skill with just sheer volume. So I decided to increase all of my marketing efforts, not by 2x, not even by 5x, not even by 10x, but I decided to 100x everything I'm doing now. As a matter of fact, I made it even harder on myself because I chose one of my biggest competitors currently, who is a lady that doesn't even know me. Maybe she's heard of me, I'm sure, after now, because now 5 days of posting about this, and I've actually directly referenced her in these posts and tagged her. If she's doing more volume than I am in any of these 6 categories, then I'm going to 100x her output. So I get a decent amount of interest organically just through social posts that I'll put out there, but different things about technology or the services my company provide, which is pretty much all catering around helping law firms be more efficient. So I'll get people who will see my content, and then it sort of starts conversations organically, and then sometimes they turn into clients.
Right.
So right now I'm posting 3 times a week, and I need to now be posting 300 times a week, which is crazy when you think about the number.
That and the way that the way that you were describing this too, it almost seems like friendly competition, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, this, you have competitors, right? But it seems like a little friendly competition because I mean, not only are you proving yourself to you, but you're also proving it to your competitor, and you're proving it to your clients now or potential future clients as well.
I was interested when you were saying you're like, okay, one, you mentioned you're like, you built a computer out of spare parts that you have just out of boredom. So I was like, okay. So like you can do computer stuff, and I'm like, then you said you're bored and you're just and you can't work because of the work you were doing. So what if we can do something to where you can do, some of this, social content and help me with this crazy ambitious goal and be a part of the success on that. Yeah, I guess that was kind of the whole catalyst behind this, is like, yeah, maybe we can do something with that, and then just be able to hang and hear your story. And now here we are, turned it into a whole interview where we're talking about your story.
I think it would, well, one, help take some of the load off of you. So it would help cure some of my boredom. So I'd like to try and, obviously you're a buddy of mine, so I want to try and help you out as much as I can, but it's a win-win scenario too. I mean, I'm not going stir crazy here. It helps lighten your workload up between, you actually working, you having to do everything that, becoming a business owner entails. Mm-hmm. And then on top of it, now family as well. So, yeah.
We'll figure out all the details and everything. We're not gonna bore the people with that, but I did want to specifically bring that up in this video because I just think it's like when you are open to opportunity, the universe or God or whatever you believe, it's like, I think if you're watching and you're listening for it, like there's so much opportunity that happens all around us. Like now here's something that just organically happened from just a buddy calling a buddy, and like I wasn't even thinking anything about this, you weren't even thinking anything about this, and now it's like we can do something that's like, you know, puts a little money in a buddy's pocket, you get to, you know, board, like all the things you mentioned where it's like that's pretty cool.
We'll give it a test run, and I mean, obviously let's hope for success.
Yeah, maybe we'll figure out a cool way to kind of like incorporate you into this, like so people know like, hey, you know, it's like it takes a village, right? Like I can say I'm like 100xing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to do every component of it. The end goal is like the output is 100xed, but if you can find ways to be smart about your resources and the people and your connections around you and make everything click, then you still accomplish the same goal. I appreciate you sitting down and sharing your story. It inspired me, so I know it will definitely inspire others. Before we shut off, I do think it would only be fair that I ask you, what is your biggest takeaway from this experience and what you would want to share with other people?
Biggest takeaway from the experience is this whole experience, it slowed me down. You know, you heard the term live life in the fast lane or whatever. Having an experience like this, it slows you down. You really step back and you go, all right, where am I at? Where am I going? How am I going to get there? It makes you think a little bit more. I need to spend more time with my family, you know, because for the last, I'd say last year, I was focusing solely on work, just every day.
It tends to be what we do as, you said 26 you are? Yeah, so it's like, that's like grind time, right? Yeah. For in a lot of people's mind, it's like that's those peak grinding years. And you can forget really easily the reason why you're grinding. And it's different for everyone. But I'd imagine there's probably some level of it that's anchored in you want to have time to do the things that are important to you with the people that are important to you.
Right. Family and friends have been huge support in all of this. Without them, I don't think I would have been able to, you know, stay positive how I am or, you know, any of that. It slowed me down. It made me open up my eyes and realize what I was doing and how it could affect the people that I care about.
So I appreciate you, inviting me into your space, and then, especially as you're on the roads to recovery. I know you're mending, but, it's a very, personal experience to be going through. Life is important and it's unpredictable, and you got to make sure that you're living every day to the fullest, because you never know. You're doing one thing that you normally do and it doesn't seem like a big deal, or you're going down the block, or that's how it always happens,
Like I said, boredom has been getting to me where I'm like, what do I want to do now? And I'm looking around, I'm like, that's dusty again, and I'll go and clean something again. Like, I think I cleaned that ceiling fan 4 times since I've been here.
No, it looks good.
Like,
it looks good.
I see dust on it, but again, now I'm picking out things, but you get the point.